What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV coming to you from Santa Barbara, California. Let's do it. That's right, Island Hoppers. Today we're going to show you all around Santa Barbara. We're going to go up to the Mission, to the Botanical Gardens. We're going to go down to the marina. We're going to walk around some of the beaches and show you so much around this area, including the downtown area where State Street is. And actually, this beautiful area that we're walking around right now is the courthouse, believe it or not. It looks like it could be an old historical botanical garden, right? With all these mosaic and tiles. But really, truly, it is just a courthouse, and it's still active to this day. It's right here down in the downtown core. If you wanted to see this, you can go inside. You don't have to go to actual court to go in as a tourist and go to the top. And the area with the little church inside, this is actually on the second floor. From the second floor, you go to the stairwell and you go up to the top of the clock tower. And as we walk up to the top of that clock tower, I want to give you some more information. There will be timestamps below so you can go to different places around this video. Also, some more facts. Santa Barbara is a Central California coastal city with a population of 88,000 people, and someone from Santa Barbara is known as a Santa Barbarian. And yes, these amazing views you're getting are at the top of the clock tower. We visited Santa Barbara in early February, and as you can see, there wasn't a single cloud in the sky, and the temperatures outside did hover around 70 to 75 degrees at peak temperature, so a really beautiful day in the winter. And just a short walk away is actual State Street, which is the downtown core, and it runs for about a half a mile, really condensed with cafes, lots of activities. They actually closed down State Street in this area to automobile traffic, so you'll see a lot of bicycles, some mopeds, some electric bikes, mostly people walking around, hanging out, really relaxing space. All right, now we're in downtown Santa Barbara, known as State Street. We're gonna walk up along State Street right here, show you everything it has to do. This is a great place to be. And here's some more relevant information about State Street Promenade that you'll wanna know. It is considered the heart of downtown Santa Barbara's entertainment and retail district. Also, it is 10 blocks that you can walk, and the idea to close State Street to automobiles is actually to encourage outdoor dining. Obviously, that came about over the last few years with what happened in 2020, but they plan to keep it that way until the middle of 2024. They may keep it, or they may go back to letting vehicles drive up and down there, but I think it's better without cars. I like the fact that you can walk up and down here without having to worry about cars driving, speeding, letting your kids walk through here also. Now, there are intersections where cars do cross through, so it's not just one big closed off area to cars, so keep that in mind. The locals in Santa Barbara are very social, and one of their favorite things to do is go out for drinks. That includes cocktails, beers, wine. After all, Sonoma County is very close to here, so wine tasting in Santa Barbara is a thing, so add that to the list of places or things to do when visiting Santa Barbara, of course. But right here on State Street, cafes, bars, restaurants, eateries, outdoor dining, all really nice, especially on a day like this when it's 75 degrees out, not a cloud in the sky. You're gonna love it. We were here during the Santa Barbara Film Festival, so that was also going on at the theaters. And in case you're wondering what kind of cuisine they have down here, expect a lot of different Mexican restaurants, and also they're going to have Italian restaurants, several different Asian fusion restaurants, sushi, some Indian restaurants I saw. Also, as you head towards the coast along State Street, you eventually end up at the Wolf Museum and then Stearns Wharf. And really, once you go under the freeway, that's where you will see some art museums and the other museums, the theaters, all in that little area after the entertainment area. And we decided to stop in and get some dim sum. As you can see right here, lettuce wraps, veggie rolls, chicken, shumai. But what do you guys say we check out some history? We're down here at the Presidio, which is an old Spanish fort, but I see this sign here. It says Old Chinatown. It says 10% of the population was from China. And Santa Barbara in its early heydays was really a melting pot of different cultures. Obviously, you had the indigenous people who really were here the longest for many years before the Spanish ever even arrived. This here is called the Bonilla House. Back in 1887, one of the families from inside the Presidio, right here, this was their house. This is what it looked like. Just some interesting history. As you guys know, the big ticket in town is the old Santa Barbara Mission, which we will be showing you here later, but the Presidio is right next to State Street, so I figured I'd show you the courthouse, the Presidio, and the entertainment area before we continue on. And here we are at the old Santa Barbara Mission, developed in the late 1700s. It's been rebuilt since then, but let's go around this area. They call it Mission Park and the actual Rose Garden. So let's go. So it was established in 1786 by the Spanish. In the early 1900s, it was destroyed by an earthquake, so they had to rebuild it. Another thing to know is that it is actually a private 15-acre piece of property where people come to gather for spiritual needs. It is essentially a church here. They don't receive any state funding, so you have to pay to actually go inside the museum. I believe it's around $15 per person. Inside the museum, you can read up on the history of the indigenous population. One story that really caught my attention that I paid attention to and I would recommend you observe is the story of the lone woman. Basically, she was a woman who was on the island of St. Nicholas, but the thing that ended up happening that made her all alone, her son actually fell into the ocean, and they say a large animal took her son, and that's why she ended up becoming this lone woman that used to wander into Santa Barbara from the island, and there's the story that you can read about. And these are basically pass-me-down stories that locals and indigenous people had shared with the museum, so that's what you're getting is a pass-me-down kind of story. Also, the Spanish were here, so there's going to be a lot of Spanish history at the museum, of course. And the land around the actual mission is very beautiful, and that's what we're going to show you now. And right down the road from the mission is the Rockwood Park. You can see the Women's Club right here, and where we're actually headed next is to the Museum of Natural Science. Well, it's actually called the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. The interesting thing is up on this hill here, they do have a whale skeleton up on this hill. It's not coastal like you would imagine it would be for Santa Barbara's history if it's going to involve the maritime and the marine mammals. But let's talk about price. Adults, $19. Seniors, $17. Teens, $17. Children under 12, 14, and children under 2 are free. And the reason I say that is because I know you guys want to know. And from the top of the hill where the mission and the museum is, let's go down to the marina area where you can get whale watching tours, kayaks, and other tours just out onto the water. Because after all, it is nearby the Channel Islands. Obviously, there are sailboats out here because people like to sail towards those Channel Islands. It is a marine sanctuary out there. It's not like Santa Catalina Island where you can go to Avalon and hang out. It's more of a preserve, okay? Also, fishing is a big pastime here in Santa Barbara. So if you want to come to Santa Barbara and do some fishing, talk to one of these local fishing boats and see if you can get out there on that water. Some people even go out there on their stand-up paddle boards or just a kayak and fish. Now keep in mind, if you were to accidentally hook a great white shark, it can happen. You are supposed to immediately release it. Now, aside from looking for a vessel to take you out on a water taxi or around Santa Barbara doing a narrated tour or a private charter, you can also walk along the boardwalk here. They do have a couple restaurants and they have a really cool maritime museum. And right here you'll see a fun little statue here, which was actually a gift from the people of Puerto Vallarta, which is a sister city with Santa Barbara. And here is a walk along that boardwalk. Santa Barbara can get some really high swells at times, so I wouldn't recommend being all the way out here when there are high swells, obviously, because you can get swept away. There's also heavy winds out here in Santa Barbara, especially in the winter. And here we are at the Santa Barbara Waterfront. This here is where the marina is. They have some shops and lots of fishing activities. You can do some whale watching down here. They do have signs though that say, do not catch a great white shark. Do not kill a great white shark, because yes, right out here, there are many great white sharks. Just go onto YouTube, you'll see great white sharks off the coast of Santa Barbara. And right behind me is the Ledbetter Beach right next to the marina, but if you look way off into the distance there, you can see the Channel Islands. That's two of them. Going south, there's more. That's where Santa Catalina is. But this is a marine sanctuary. You can't really go out there unless you have a tour or a license to go out there. Now, I did tell you guys about the Maritime Museum out here in the marina area, and that's what we're going to show you next. And I would say if your children are interested in learning about the Navy, the Coast Guard, fishing, deep sea fishing, whatever has to do with going out onto the ocean as a mariner, being a navigator, bring them here. And also for adults, because it's actually got a lot of useful information jammed right into this small museum. It looks small, but the amount of time it takes to read up on everything that you should want to know about Santa Barbara maritime history is quite extensive, including a cool section about surfing, not just in Santa Barbara, but around California and some other parts around the world. A really cool activity to do early day. I would recommend doing it before or after breakfast or brunch, whatever you want to do. And then we will actually walk over to the Dolphin Fountain, which is actually going to take us to Stearns Wharf, which is actually at the end of State Street. And you'll know you're there because you will see the Dolphin Fountain and you can drive out onto the pier here at Stearns Wharf. Right now where we're at is Stearns Wharf. This is actually at the end of State Street. And out here at Stearns Wharf, they have restaurants. You can come here in the evening time. There was a big fire a few years ago, but let's just show you what it looks like now as we kind of walk around. And you can see they've rebuilt it since that devastating fire they had over a decade ago. And as we continue to walk around here at the Stearns Wharf out here on the ocean, I want to remind you guys, if you check the links below, you can find several other videos that we've done from Southern California, including Los Angeles Travel Guide and San Diego Travel Guide. I will put links below in the description and the comments. And of course, a reminder, we do have timestamps below as well. But let's keep looking around Stearns Wharf. Right behind me is East Beach. It's not the most popular beach in all of Santa Barbara, but it is a nice place to walk around. They do have a walking path. You can ride a bike, jogging, walk the dog. And you could hear the Amtrak in the background because the Amtrak goes through there about twice a day at least. But yes, Santa Barbara is a very active city. And here we are at Arroyo Borough Beach. This is one of the best beaches in all of Santa Barbara. And there are a few beaches around here to take note of. Obviously, there's Butterfly Beach, Ledbetter Beach, Arroyo Borough, which is the one we're at now. Then if you go up to Goleta, you're going to see another set of beaches. That's going to be towards like the northwest. If you go towards the southeast, you come to Carpinteria, or even some of the other areas south of there like Rincon Beach, County Park. So lots of different unique beaches out here in Santa Barbara. Let's talk about accommodation. We stayed here at Mason Beach, which I found to be a very good location with its proximity to the wharf and also the marina as well as State Street. Hotel rooms here range in between $175 to $200 per night. The rooms are very comfortable. So that's going to be the average price, I would say, around Santa Barbara. Prepare for that price range. Here we are at the Santa Barbara Botanical Garden right up here on the hill. You can see the poppies are in bloom. We're going up towards the redwoods. Let's go. Because Santa Barbara has such an amazing climate, they call it a Mediterranean climate, you're going to get a wide array of biodiversity, including the redwoods. Although the coastal redwoods you'll see here, they don't typically appear this far south, but there is a grove here, so that is interesting. There are two different types of redwoods. There's the sequoia, and then there's the coastal redwood. But keep in mind, the tallest tree in the world grows in Northern California. Of course, at this botanical garden, you're going to see more than just coastal redwoods. You can see there are poppies and other types of plant life around here. There is an entrance fee, which is $16 for adults and $8 for children 3 to 17. It is open from 10 to 5 p.m. daily. As we walk through this grove of redwoods and I look up and I see how tall these trees are, just take a look. What do you guys say we show you around the rest of the botanical garden outside of the Redwood Grove now? There's two types of redwood trees in California known as the California redwoods. The biggest one is in the Sequoia National Forest in the mountains. This one here is a sequoia tree. If you look right over here, the ones we saw in the grove, those are the smaller California coastal redwoods. But this one right here, they get as big as a bus down at the base. It's big. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you around some other surrounding areas of Santa Barbara, and we're going to head northwest to Goleta, which is actually where the UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara University campus is. What we've decided to do now is head down to Goleta. This is actually where University of California, Santa Barbara is, so we're just going to walk around here, show you what's going on, and some of the beaches. Being that it is a college town, expect a lot of youth, including lots of partying to be had here, so don't be surprised if you see that. Now, if that's not your vibe, just stay in Santa Barbara or go around the other coastal towns, because Goleta, being a college town, definitely is a party place. So what we'll do now is actually a walking tour. You can kind of fast forward and scrub through this if you want, or you can just watch the whole walking tour. It's going to be about a minute and a half. We're going to go get some food, and then we're going to go do some more activity. We stopped here at Coca Ceviche, and I got some tuna and salmon with some white rice. Good news is, if you're a college student, I saw a lot of for lease or for rent right there on the beach. I don't even think you have to be a college student to stay there. So if you want to live in a college town and be like a digital nomad, you can actually rent one of these places probably. And I say probably because I don't know if they're just exclusively reserved for college students, but I did notice that the pricing out here in Goleta is more affordable than Santa Barbara, and that includes for the hotels. In Santa Barbara, I got a haircut. This is a look at our hotel. It was $149 per night per room. When you come to Santa Barbara, you might want to try this place called the Habit Burger. Right here, I'm getting some pepperoncinis, some hot peppers. They just give these away for free, but the burger we're getting is called a Santa Barbara Char. So here it is. It's got sourdough, guacamole, 2 beef patties, tomatoes, lettuce. Really delicious. Let's take a bite here. And on that note, that's a wrap from Santa Barbara. Watch our other videos, Los Angeles, San Diego, or San Francisco. Click one of these links right now.